Hello, Amelia Hirschfield here. I am an entrepreneur who has achieved some incredible things all by focusing on how to free myself from what has been keeping me trapped, whether it's my perception of how I'm trapped or what has been imposed on me. And as I'm removing those, I'm able to feel more like myself and get this beautiful sense of freedom. And that freedom is amazing because I'm able to be me without having these restrictions on me. And now I'm teaching leaders and impact makers and 4 Myers-Briggs types how to do the same thing so they can find this priceless gift. And I have my dog Naya right here. She might be moving around a little bit, but today we get to talk to INFPs, and something INFPs can do is have too high of a standard for themselves and then beat themselves up about it later on. So INFPs can very much value certain principles. They want to uphold these values that they have within themselves. And when they're not doing that, when they're not being the person they want to be, they might be embarrassed about it. They might be ashamed of what these thoughts are going on in their minds. They're like, I don't want to be having these thoughts, but I'm having them. So it's like, what do I do about this? They can feel frustrated about them because it's occurring and they might not know how to shut them off. They are probably not proud of them. They might be embarrassed about how they've acted in a certain way in the past with this behavior. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. Like, for me, something that I can do is be really embarrassed of how I acted and towards guys I dated a long time ago, because I've done a lot of work since then, and how I behaved then is not how I behave now towards people. And when I see these guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was acting like this, and I can show up in ways that aren't my best self by maybe just trying to avoid them without having to be real. So that's something that I can get embarrassed about. And you might doubt if people will appreciate you with this flaw. So you might go like, I might be unlovable, or this person might not appreciate who I am, or I don't know how people will act if I say this about myself, that I'm doing these things that I don't want to be doing. And what are people going to think of me? How are people going to judge me if I'm not living up to the standards that I have for myself? And that can be a really hard space, because if you're not talking about it with other people, then you are probably trying to internalize it and figure it out. And when you're in this space, it's really important to get other people's feedback and trusted people's feedback. So even knowing that you're not alone with that, like my story of sharing that I was embarrassed about that, that's like, you're not alone with that, even though it might feel like you're alone, and you might not see other people talking about it. You're not alone. There's a lot of other people like that. And it might just be you have too high of standards for yourself and you're trying to be perfect. And this is trying to show you that even though you have high standards, even though you want to really be an amazing person and be highly regarded, that you're going to mess up too. And that doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean people won't like you. It doesn't mean that people will criticize you. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or wrong with your values, or you have to go back and like totally sort out who you are. It might just mean that you're a person. It might just mean that there's something to learn there. And there might be, like, if you're not as hard on yourself, how would the situation look differently? Would you not be so pressured to be in a certain way and could talk about this more? Maybe you would like more support with other people who think similarly to you. Because when you're doing this, it's really shutting you down, and it can cause a lot of anxiety. It can cause a lot of nervousness. And that prevents you from standing in the power of really who you are. Because that is also the opposite of freedom. When you're trapped by fear, you can't be your true self. And sometimes you just need to learn how to do things a little differently, especially as you feel more unified in your Myers-Briggs type. So if you look at, okay, how can I bring myself together versus push myself apart because I'm frustrated with myself and things aren't working, and then I'm just going to spiral downhill here. So focus on that. If you're ready to feel more like yourself and be more of the person that you want to be versus sitting in the spot now of trying to shame yourself, book a call with me. There are lots of options that we can do with this, and you are important and you matter. And if you can soften a bit here, that can allow a lot more grace to come in and a lot more freedom, because you don't have to be so alone with this either. So if you are ready to take the step up, be more of who you are, be less trapped by this fear, book a call with me. My website's Amelia Harshfield, and there's a connect page there. So, and you can see Naya's pause right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.